I, Claudius, once Claudius the idiot, Claudius the stammerer, was now the Emperor Claudius. And I had decided to make the best of it. My course was assured. I had my plans. I had my wife and my faithful freedmen. I was the ruler of the known world. For just as long as I wanted to be.
I, Claudius, by Robert Graves. Dramatised by Robin Brooks. Starring Tom Goodman-Hill and Jessica Raine. Episode 6, Messalina.
Early in August, 20 days after I had finally allowed myself to be voted the title of Emperor, Messalina bore me a boy. I saw it as a good omen. As soon as he was old enough, I carried him about and showed him to the soldiers. They loved him almost as much as I did.
He's a fine, healthy baby. He's to be known as Drusus Germanicus, after his noble uncle.
I began to enjoy getting things done. I decided if there was one thing I should accomplish before restoring the Republic and stepping down, it would be the conversion of the port of Ostia into a safe winter harbour to alleviate the dreadful food shortages when bad weather prevented the grain ships from docking.
Drawn up the plans as you asked, Caesar, but of course the cost would be prohibitive. 10 million gold.
I asked for a plan and an estimate, but I do not employ you as my financial advisor.
But, Majesty, your own treasurer said
Yes,
it would be
of course, Callistus is very careful with public money, but this is a matter of the utmost importance. In any case, I should not be surprised to learn that the corn dealers influenced your report. The scarcer corn becomes, the richer they grow.
We would never take bribes, Caesar.
I said influenced, not bribed. Now, listen to me. I am determined to do this, whatever it costs. You may think I'm a fool, but I'm not a fool. I'm a historian. I've been looking in the archives, and I've found a detailed scheme drawn up by Julius Caesar's engineers. Come along.
I took it to Callistus.
90 years old, but perfectly sound. And they estimated only 4 million gold pieces.
Even so, Caesar, where's the money to come from?
From the corn dealers, of course. Give me the names of the most prominent, and I'll get the money.
My engineers report that you have been bribing them to send in an unfavourable report on the Ostia scheme. I should have you all thrown to the wild beasts.
In any way, Caesar.
That's easy then. I want an immediate loan of $1 million in gold, repayable as soon as the financial situation allows.
Caesar,
You've got a month, or you're all banished to the Black Sea, or further. And remember, when this harbour is built, it'll be my harbour. If you want to use it, you'll have to ask me. Thank you, gentlemen. I got the money in 5 days.
Workmen's huts have gone up, and they're pegging out the ground already. I must confess, Narcissus, it's rather pleasurable to be a monarch.
A republic can never hope to carry through public works on so grand a scale as a monarchy. All the grandest constructions are the works of kings and queens, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the pyramids, such a monument to human aspiration.
And stupidity and tyranny and cruelty. Look at that. Now that's the greatest monument ever built.
What, the baths?
The Appian Way. The Roman road is the greatest monument to liberty ever raised by a noble people.
You haven't seen the Pyramid of Cheops?
Cheops was mad, like Caligula? What about that city in the Alps he was going to build?
Caligula was a jackdaw and a monkey.
Yet I seem to recall we adored him as a god, Narcissus.
And I seem to recall that the example to do so came first from you, sir.
Heaven forgive us all. Narcissus was one of the few people who treated me like an ordinary person. Messalina, of course, was another.
It's no fun being the director of public morals.
You wanted the job.
I'm beginning to repent of my kind heart.
About what?
Your niece?
Lesbia?
Why is she so often in your rooms? You never tell me when she comes.
There's nothing secret about it. I told her that when she came back from exile, I wouldn't give her back her estates until I'd seen how she and her husband behaved. She swore she was going to change. She wept.
Very touching.
I told her to go to you and tell you that I had forgiven her.
She never did. Are you sure about this? You know what your memory's like?
Positive. Well, or I wouldn't have given her the estates.
So what does she want now?
Nothing. She just comes for a visit. She chatters for a few minutes. Kisses me like a good niece, and off she goes.
The woman's a snake. I know her plan. She'll start slandering me in a quiet, hinting way at first, then more directly. She'll say that behind your back I live a life of debauchery, actors and sword fighters. I bet she's started already, has she?
Certainly not, and I wouldn't let her. I wouldn't believe anyone who said such things about you.
Oh, forgive me, my dear, for being so jealous. I don't trust any woman alone with you. No. Don't say anything about it to Lesbia.
I promise. Promise. Some time later, Messalina came to me with proof that Lesbia had been committing adultery with a senator named Seneca. I let Messalina interview her. I felt she had more cause for resentment in the matter.
She spoke very insolently. She said her body was her own, to do as she liked with.
No, she's my niece. She has to set standards.
But when I told her she was banished, she flew into a passion. She said, how do you think my husband and his family will take this insult? One morning the palace servants will enter the imperial bedroom and find you both lying with your throats cut.
Only words, my dear. But perhaps we should keep an eye on her husband and her lover.
Or lovers.
Soon after, we were woken in the middle of the night. Get behind me. I'll protect you.
What's going on?
Just one man, Majesty. We've disarmed him.
Right safe, Majesties. It's only a little fellow.
This is Lesbia's doing.
Shall we have a look at him?
Yes.
Bring him in, then. What's your name? Who are you?
Boris, a freedman.
Why were you trying to kill us?
I wasn't.
What?
I got it wrong. I said the wrong words at the end of the mystery.
What do you mean?
What mystery?
I'm forbidden to tell. It is the most sacred of all mysteries. I've been initiated.
When?
Last night.
Where?
On the ground. A bird was sacrificed. I drank its blood.
And then?
Two spirits appeared. They gave me a dagger. They blindfolded me and told me we had to go to hell. They led me a long way, up and down steps, through streets, over the river of death. A long way. Then they took off my blindfold and told me we were in the halls of the god of death. They told me to follow the passage, give the watchword to the sentry.
They knew the watchword?
Fate. They told me to open the door at the end of the corridor, and I would find the god and goddess of death asleep. I was to boldly slay them and live forever in the realms of perpetual bliss. I was to say a charm over and over as I went. But I must have got it wrong. Because I found myself here in Rome, struggling with your gods. Death still reigns.
Very clever.
Who initiated you?
I cannot tell you.
He refused to talk, even under torture. But we discovered he was a freedman in Lesbia's service. I had to have him executed, and he went to his grave, believing he had failed to kill the King of Death. I agreed with Messalina that Lesbia had to be executed too. It was all very painful. Not long after this, Messalina bore me a daughter, Octavia. Messalina was delighted. She came to me shyly one evening, peeping up into my face over my paperwork.
Yes? Lovely. What is it?
Do you love me?
Beyond everything. I didn't do anything for you.
Would you?
Anything.
Then, if it's not too hard for you, would you? Could you possibly,
What?
Could you allow me to sleep in my own bedroom for a little while? It isn't that I don't love you every bit as much as ever, but oughtn't we to wait a bit before we have another child?
Oh.
Pregnancy is rather disagreeable. And when I'm having children, I don't feel so passionate. I love you as much as ever, but having children uses up all my emotions. I'm being honest.
I know. I believe you.
I am your wife to help you with your work. I'm not just going to have children until I wear out, am I?
Couldn't we sleep together just for company?
Oh, Claudius, don't make it difficult. It's so hard to hurt you. What if we were lying together and you were overcome by passion? I wouldn't want to resist, and you would feel so remorseful. Suppose I just move my suite across to the new palace for a little while. I can get to work much more quickly.
How long for?
Don't be impatient. I'm still your Messalina. Well, sex doesn't mean much to me. I think women get bored with it. But we still want to be loved. If you were to have affairs, I would go mad with jealousy.
This was how Messalina played, very cleverly and very cruelly, on my blind love for her. I was still emperor, and could see no hope yet of a safe and speedy return to private life. The Senate fawned and cringed. I was afraid that if I stepped down, someone much worse would take my place. I turned my attention to the city's grocery supply.
I want an abundant supply raised, brought in every day before dawn and sold at the lowest prices. I propose to offer special privileges to the butchers and wine sellers.
Cold water and cabbage is good enough for the working man. Why pamper them with wine and butcher's cuts?
Well, would you like to drink only water, Asiaticus?
I'd be a hardier man if I did, Caesar. I don't believe it's right to encourage the poor to a diet above their station.
I appeal to you, my lords. The wine sellers need help. There has been a falling off in the number of wine shops over the last 5 years. I mean, honest, jug and bottle places, not those dirty, knocking shops. 5 years ago, on the Palatine, there were 15? No. 20 or more jug and bottle houses. There was the Flask and the Veteran and the two brothers, the Swans. Still in business? You may laugh, my lords. You keep your own cellars, doubtless, and you probably never had to buy a drink in your life. You may recall that owing to the caprices of my nephew, a few years ago, I was forced to live on the charity of my friends. Not a man of you among them, by the way. So, I know what I'm talking about. I hope if any of you fall victim to the caprices of an emperor and find yourself in poverty, you'll remember this debate and regret you didn't vote for the swan or a bit of meat for the poor man.
I saw the fear of death come stealing over them. My motion was passed unanimously. It pleased me for a moment, but then I felt ashamed. I had not meant to bully them. I distracted myself with foreign affairs. My generals were pressing for the conquest of Britain. It is a small island, very much on the fringes of things, and I shan't bother to describe the various setbacks and final battle. But it was all a great success, and when we returned to Rome, we celebrated a triumph, and I named my young son Britannicus in honor of the victory. Afterwards, we had 3 days of games, and on the last day, Mnester performed his Orestes and Pylades.
Bravo! Bravo! Have him up, we'll give him a little purse.
Caesar?
He is splendid at the moment, isn't he? Absolutely on top form.
Darling, I want to talk to you about Mnester. He is marvellous, but while you were away, he was rather rude to me.
What?
When I asked him to rehearse the Minotaur for me, he refused. And then I asked for Ulysses, and he wouldn't do that either. He said he couldn't find a good Circe.
You're kidding.
Caesar!
Come closer.
Caesar?
Listen, little Greek, this is my wife, the Lady Valeria Messalina. She complains that you have been uncooperative and insolent. Understand something. If the Lady Messalina tells you to do something, you do it. Anything, little Greek, and no arguments. Understood?
Anything, Caesar?
Anything.
I obey, Caesar, and beg forgiveness for my stupidity.
Good. Now, get lost.
It now happened that sometimes Mnester would fail to put in an appearance. It used to cause an uproar in the theatre.
Friends! Friends, please!
His absence almost always seemed to coincide with one of Messalina's sick headaches.
My friends, I'll make sure he appears when he's billed in future, I promise you. At least you can't accuse me of hiding him away at the palace. They like my little jokes today. He didn't turn up again.
You mean I didn't miss anything?
No, not a thing, dearest.
But I was lying here, seething with envy. I tried to get up. I felt so dizzy.
Poor you.
Was the play very dull without him?
Yes, we really must insist on his keeping his engagements.
Oh, he's very highly strung. Great artists are always like that. But when he's fit, he's a marvellous performer.
And so suddenly I was home. I was safe. I had done everything I intended. My rule was good. The country was contented. Our finances were back to rights. I had completed my reforms. Our armies were victorious everywhere. My health was sound. My children were flourishing. In a few years, my son Britannicus would be putting on his manly gown. We celebrated the Tarentine Games, held every 100 years to mark the beginning of a new age. And I decided that the time had come to hand back the government to the Senate and people. I thought the whole thing out in detail, to resign the privy purse, restore the republic, and introduce a law providing for a change of government every 5 years. I told no one of my plans, but went about my work with a light heart. Then, one morning, early, Messalina came to my bedroom.
Darling? I've got something dreadful to tell you.
What? What is it?
Barbillis has read my stars. He said there was something bad, and he wouldn't tell me at first. I had to threaten him with a whipping.
What?
He says, in the next 30 days, my husband will die a violent death.
Perhaps he's got it wrong.
He never has before. He's usually right.
He's always right.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
I'll divorce you and marry someone else. For 30 days, then we can get married again.
Who?
It doesn't matter.
But if they die...
I know. Silius.
I don't like him. He is one of the opposition leaders in the Senate. He's always very rude to me.
That's the beauty of it. If he does die, it won't be the end of the world, will it?
You really think we should do it?
Just for a month. If I come to the palace one night and commit adultery with you, will you banish me?
Yes, and I'll banish myself too. Where would you like to go? Sir Silius was supposed to be the best-looking nobleman in Rome. The joke was wearing rather thin for me, and I was thinking of calling the whole thing off, but Barbillis stood by his prophecy. On the morning before their marriage, I went down to Ostia to inspect the docks.
Caesar?
What is it?
Someone's just handed me a note, sir. A petition, I think.
File it with the others, then.
I can't, sir.
Why not?
I can't read it.
What do you mean?
It's in a language I don't know. I don't even recognize it, sir.
It's in Etruscan, that's why. Very few people can read Etruscan, you know. It says, great danger. Come to my house at once. Who gave you this?
A woman, sir.
What did she look like?
She looked like a wealthy prostitute, sir.
I know who it is. What does she mean?
Calpurnia! What is it? What's the matter?
No one else dares tell you. You won't believe me. You'll have me flogged, but no one else dares tell you, so I must. I promised Narcissus I would. He said you wouldn't believe him or anyone, but I said you'd believe me because we were friends, and when you were in trouble, I helped you. We were always friends, weren't we? I was never greedy or jealous or dishonest.
No, my dear Calpurnia, I've known very few good women, apart from you and...
Would you say Messalina?
Of course, but apart from...
Because if you say her, then you can't say me.
What?
If I was another sort of prostitute, if I was vain and lustful and promiscuous and avaricious and used my beauty to dominate and destroy men...
What are you getting at?
Then I'd be the sort to compare with Messalina.
Are you mad?
No.
Then what's my poor Messalina done to be attacked in this extraordinary way?
I was shopping in town this morning. I looked in on the wedding. Everyone was having a marvellous time. Everyone was drunk. The whole house was decorated with vine leaves and bunches of grapes and wine vats and done up to represent the harvest.
What wedding? Talk sense.
Messalina and Silius.
Tomorrow I'm officiating.
They seem to be managing without you. Messalina was dressed as a bacchante and just a leopard skin and her breasts out. She was dancing in the biggest wine vat. Silius was Bacchus. He was even drunker than her. He kept tossing his head about to the music and grinning.
That's not a real wedding.
Silius pulled at her costume and she screamed and laughed and he carried her off to the bridal chamber. They didn't come out.
I don't believe it.
Don't have me flogged! Narcissus!
Narcissus?
I couldn't tell you when it started, then I thought you must know about it.
No, about what?
Her debaucheries.
For years.
And then it was...
Yes.
Oh, my dear.
I don't believe you. I must go. I feel like Augustus when Julia, when he found out about... Yes?
Claudius.
I want to go to my room. With whom? Apart from Silius.
Many.
How many? Lester.
Yes, many more.
I want to go to my room.
Claudius, listen. Silius is married to Messalina. He can claim legitimacy. All he needs to do is get the soldiers behind him. He can find the money. I expect it's already collected, maybe even distributed. This is not adultery. This is rebellion. Unless you act at once, Silius will be master of Rome and we'll all be dead.
They're the first games I ever saw. I saw a Spanish sword fighter. His shield arm lopped off. It's such a stupid look when he saw what had happened. The whole crowd roared with laughter. I thought it was funny, too. God forgive me. God forgive me. They gave me something to drink. It made me very clear-headed and impersonal and slightly godlike. My feet seemed to be treading on clouds like a god.
Dear Claudius, you have been very foolish and very unlucky, and now you must do something to save yourself.
Sir, if you don't act at once, you'll be sentencing us all to death.
Well, what am I going to do?
Go to the guards' camp. Make sure of their loyalty. Send out arrest warrants for everyone at the wedding.
No violence, though.
Send soldiers with the warrants now. Claudius, you must or we'll all die.
When the soldiers arrived, the wedding party was just breaking up. The party had come to the stage that parties reach when the first excitement of drink has worn off and everyone begins to feel a little tired and at a loss. Interest now centred on a knight called Vettius, who had climbed a tree in the garden and was pretending to carry on a dalliance with a dryad who lived in it.
She says she's in love with me. She says if I climb a little higher, we can be private together. Oh, gorgeous spirit. My beautiful wood girl. Oh. What are you doing? A great view from up here. Oh, she's sitting on my lap and pointing out places of interest. Oh, yes, I know that's a Senate House. Colchester? We can't see as far as Colchester. Oh, no, so we can. What are they doing? Walking around, painted blue, and worshipping old Claudius. Dear God. Oh, my God. Dear God. Let me go! No, darling, let me go! I've got to get down! Oh! Run for your lives! It's a fearful sight! A dreadful storm coming up from Ostia! Run!
So the crowd actually did scatter just a few moments before the soldiers arrived. Messalina got safely away, and so did Silius. Silius went back to court and tried to pretend that nothing had happened.
Silius Fabius.
What do you want? I'm busy.
Come with us, please, sir.
Messalina went home to fetch our children as reinforcements and enlist some help. As I was travelling back to the city, we were met by a carriage coming towards us.
Here's someone come to meet us, Caesar.
What? Who is it?
It's the Vestal Virgin, Vibidia.
She's an old friend. Sir, stop! Stop! I must speak with her.
No doubt she'll ask you to forgive Messalina. She's a dear old soul, but don't make her any promises.
Who's that with her?
I'll get out and see.
Hello, Claudius. I've been such a silly girl, you'd never believe it of me.
No further, please, lady.
Let me pass, you nasty little creep.
No, you don't.
Shit! You creep, I'll have you killed!
Sergeant!
Ow! You
Escort the Lady Messalina back to her carriage.
No! 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 I'll have you crucified! Let me go!
Was it Vibidia? Had she come to plead?
Yes. I told her we'll deal justly with the lady.
What was that screaming?
Oh, that. Some woman in the crowd got into labour by the sound of it. Drive on!
They took me back to the guards' camp and showed me a list of her lovers.
Provisional and incomplete account of Valeria Messalina's notorious adulteries.
How many names?
84 so far, Caesar. There may be more.
The men are ready, Caesar.
Soldiers of the guard, I, your emperor, Sir, soldiers. Oh, bugger that. I've had a bit to drink. Sorry. Though why I should apologize to the most notorious bunch of piss artists in the empire, I don't know. Heard about my wife? 84 and still counting. She's been a busy girl. I didn't have a clue. I thought I was doing so well. My friend, Herod Agrippa, told me never to trust anyone. I didn't listen to him. I'd trusted my wife. But it turns out she's a whore and a traitor. Should I trust you?
Yes, Caesar. Yes.
Maybe. I trust your swords. It's on your swords now. Stick with me and crush this plot against me. And if ever I marry again, I give you leave to draw your swords, chop me into little bits, and use my head for a football. What do you say?
They gave me food. They gave me my favourite roast goose and oyster sauce and lots of wine with it.
Narcissus, I'm dreadfully sleepy. My mind won't work anymore. It must be that drink you gave me. I'm putting you in charge for an hour or two. I'm going to lie down for a bit.
Yes, Caesar.
We'll give her a fair trial in the morning. I feel a bit
Yes, Caesar. Colonel.
Sir.
Emperor's orders, choose 6 men and come with me to the new palace.
Sir.
Claudius. Oh, I'm so miserable and ashamed.
You are mistaken, madam. The Emperor is asleep with orders not to be disturbed.
But he won't...
The Colonel of the Guard is here to cut your throat. I came to let you know so you can do the decent thing.
You're lying. He'd never dare.
They're coming now.
This is all your fault. I should have had you killed years ago.
Too late. I bought a dagger in case you hadn't one handy.
Is it sharp?
Do you want them to wait while I fetch you a grindstone?
I can't do it.
It won't hurt if you do it quick.
I can't.
Lady.
I can't do it!
Caesar!
I've been asleep.
Yes, Caesar, for nearly an hour, Caesar.
I'd dreamt I was a god.
Actually, Caesar, I've been meaning to tell you the people of Britain have built a temple to you. They've been worshipping you since the summer.
I didn't agree to that.
We told them to dedicate it to Augustus, but they thought we meant you.
So, I'm a god now, am I? No wonder I feel odd. We'd better have that woman in for her trial as soon as it gets light.
She's dead, Caesar.
What?
You ordered it an hour ago.
I don't remember. Give me another drink. Have a bit more of that goose.
So?
Dead.
Yes, Caesar.
Oh, she was beautiful. Beautiful, but bad. So, I'm a god now, am I? Herod Agrippa said I would be. Some more sauce. I wonder what sort of god I am. Old Athenodorus used to say that the Stoic idea of God was a perfectly rounded whole, immune from accident or event. I always pictured God as an enormous pumpkin. If I eat much more of this, I'll become pumpkinified. So, Messalina's dead.
Yes, Caesar.
A beautiful woman, but bad.
Yes, Caesar.
Someone carry me up to bed. I will sleep the blessed sleep of the gods. They gave me no more of their potion, but put me in my own bed, and after a while I slept again. I slept for a very long time. Where's my wife? Where's my breakfast? I have a splitting headache.
Caesar.
What's the matter with you all? Narcissus? Where's the lady, Messalina?
She's dead, Caesar. She died yesterday on your orders.
Dead? I didn't know. I mean, I had forgotten that she... I murdered her. Poor Messalina. She
She made a fool of me. But it was my fault. I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed. Take me to the gardens of Lucullus. In the gardens of Lucullus, I sat under a cedar, looked out across the grassy slopes, and thought. I love liberty. I detest tyranny. I am now, paradoxically, an emperor. I am a patriotic Roman. I should have attempted to kill Caligula. Instead, I saved my skin by playing the imbecile. Instead, I saved my skin by taking his place. If I had refused, I should have been killed. If I had refused, there would have been civil war. I worked hard and long, like Augustus. I was an absolute monarch, like Augustus. I was blind to Messalina's follies and villainies. In my name, she shed the blood of innocent men and women. With the best intentions, I have become a tyrant. I should have killed myself rather than rule. I have been too benevolent. I repaired the ruin my predecessors spread. I reconciled Rome and the world to monarchy again. Let Rome have another Caesar. Let him be mad, bloody, capricious, wasteful, lustful. Let him prove the nature of kings. You know what, Narcissus?
What?
I've been wondering whether Octavia and Britannicus are really my children.
Oh, sir, surely.
Octavia isn't a Claudian, and she hasn't inherited Messalina's looks, let's face it. You know who she reminds me of? The commander of the German guards under Caligula. You remember? He ended up in the arena, and Messalina pleaded for his life.
It is fruitless to think in this way.
Britannicus?
Britannicus is the image of his glorious uncle Germanicus.
Isn't he? I was wondering if Caligula might be his father.
Oh, that's a horrible thought. He has nothing of Caligula's nature.
Nevertheless, I think I shall keep him out of sight for a while. After all, I've just had his mother killed. Anyway, it's time I was thinking of marrying again.
But you swore you'd never marry again.
I've changed my mind. I've made a new resolution.
I suppose we could review suitable candidates.
I've already made up my mind. I will marry Agrippinilla.
Agrippinilla?
Yes.
But she's your niece?
Yeah.
It's incest.
I'm sure the Senate will allow me a dispensation.
And she's... she...
I've always disliked her, yes. But she is no more vicious than Messalina and almost as pretty.
What about her son?
I believe Lucius Domitius shows a great deal of promise.
Oh, yes, Caesar. I'm sure Agrippinilla will be honoured.
I'm sure.
needn't worry about having to share a bed with me.
Good.
To be honest, Agrippinilla, physically you are quite repulsive to me. For all your charms.
Suits me. You're not the sort of lover one dreams about.
The truth is, I'm tired of being emperor. I need someone to do the work for me. It takes a woman to run a business like this. A woman who likes power and knows what to do with it might stay the course.
You might last a bit longer too, if you don't exasperate the people you depend on.
We've outlived all the rest of our family. I don't know how we've done it. We shouldn't quarrel. Agrippinilla has begun to remove her rivals. She has appointed a new commander of the guards, and he is her man, body and soul. Only one act of hers have I found hard to take philosophically. My poor friend Calpurnia has been killed. Someone set fire to her house one night. I made a statement to the Senate about my temple in Britain. Surely, my lords, you won't object to one little temple so far away. I never intended to be a god, and I give you my word, it will be the only one. But nobody, it seems, grudges me my temple. I see very little of my son, Britannicus. He's 14 years old now. He's growing up to be a fine boy. I've kept him away from court as much as I can. He likes spending time on my estate at Capua. He likes beekeeping and stock breeding. I find I love him dearly. But I conceal it as best I can.
The sort of education Britannicus is getting would have been all very well in the days of the Republic, Caesar, but surely in the 9th cycle of the city's history it's a little out of date.
The ancient Persians taught their children to shoot straight and speak the truth. What's wrong with that? Would you rather he went about with Lucius Domitius and his shameless flatterer, the great Seneca?
Lucius Domitius likes to be known as Nero, Caesar.
How old is he now? 16?
17.
He goes about with the affected modesty of a high-class harlot. Have you seen him shaking the hair out of his eyes and pausing to ponder privately like a young philosopher, right foot out, head sunk on his breast, fingertips of right hand pressing lightly on the forehead, and then out he comes with some brilliant epigram as devised by Seneca, which Rome joy of him.
The Lady Agrippinilla.
Oh, I shan't repeat these remarks to her. You needn't worry, Narcissus. Shan't say anything. It is now the 14th year of my reign. I have let Agrippinilla and my freedmen rule me. I have opened and shut my mouth and gestured with my arms like a little marionette, but the voice has not been mine, nor the gestures. Only one device remains to me, one last roll of the pumpkin. It concerns my son. Dear Britannicus,
Father.
Barbavelus has read my horoscope recently. He says I will die about the middle of next month.
No.
No, possibly.
You have many years more life left in you, Father.
I can't save myself, but I have decided to save you.
Save me from what?
have you enjoyed your summer?
Yes, Father.
Did you like the Brigantian boy?
Not at first, but then it was all right. We've sworn blood brotherhood.
There's a friend for you, then, in Britain.
Yes.
And they are going home quite soon.
Next week.
I want you to go with them.
Really?
Nero is fated to rule here, but after Nero's death, the Republic will be restored, and you can help restore it.
Only old-fashioned people like you talk about the Republic. Rome's an empire. The choice now is between good emperors and bad ones.
And which do you think Nero will be?
Nero? Give me just a few more years, and I'll be more than a match for Nero. The guards love me already. Keep alive for just a few more years and I'll step into your shoes.
One day, when Nero is dead, you may reveal yourself as the savior of our country. But for now, you must get away. I will announce your death here in Rome. You'll be safe among the Brigantians. You will have your face and body stained blue. I shall load your hosts with gifts and bind them with oaths to keep you safe.
It isn't honourable to paint one's face blue and hide among the British, Father. Give me my manly gown. I will not hide, I will fight. Nero is a coward. Why did you have to marry his mother?
She is quite deadly, isn't she? She is a remarkably able tyrant. Have you noticed? Her son is even worse. He will plague Rome and be the last of the mad Caesars. We are all mad, you know. Even those that begin sane, like Augustus and Tiberius. Monarchy turns our wits, but Nero will be the last, you see? He will be a monster, even worse than Caligula, and he will earn Rome's everlasting hatred, and then there will be no more emperors.
But what
They
if...
no longer have any use for me. They will kill me soon, and when I am dead, they will kill you. Please, Britannicus, I beg you, let me save
proper
you.
tutors now. I want to study public speaking and finance, and I want to learn to rule. I'm tall and strong for my age. I want to learn how to be an emperor. I'm nearly 14.
You're too young to die. I don't mind for myself. I'm ready for it. But you, as sure as fire is hot and ice is cold, if you stay here, you are doomed.
You wouldn't make me go. You wouldn't kidnap me.
No.
Then do as I ask.
He thinks he can get the better of Nero, and I cannot dissuade him. He has made me promise to let him come of age this year. I know that I am giving him over to death, but I cannot prevent it. Imbecilic I, and I have no more spirit for this task. My eyes are weary, my hand shakes so much that I can hardly form the letters. Strange portents have been seen of late. A comet, my father's monument struck by lightning. From Egypt, a phoenix has been reported. Prodigies enough, I think, to foretell the death of an emperor. Write no more. Tiberius, Claudius, Drusus, Nero, Germanicus, the god of the Britons. Write no more. I've had enough of writing history, mine or anyone's, and I think this work is finished. What shall I do with it? I could seal it up in a lead casket and bury it. Perhaps I shall merely leave it lying about. More documents survive by chance than by intention. Anyway, as sure as eggs is eggs, some other wretched historian will be along to give us their version.
Then Agrippinilla, long since bent upon the impious deed, deliberated upon the nature of the poison she would use.
Historians. You can't shut them up. Good luck to them. I shall have some supper.
The poison was poured into a dish of mushrooms, of which he was particularly fond.
I want some mushrooms.
His body was covered with clothes and kept warm, until matters were arranged for securing the empire to Nero. Agrippinilla, feigning grief, clasped Britannicus in her arms, called him the very model of his father, and by various artifices withheld him from leaving the chamber. At last, at noon, the gates of the palace were thrown open, and Nero went forth. It is said that there were some who hesitated, looking back anxiously and frequently asking, where was Britannicus? But as no one came forward to oppose it, they embraced the choice which was offered to them. And Nero declared mushrooms to be the food of the gods.
In episode 6 of I, Claudius by Robert Graves, dramatised by Robin Brooks, Claudius was played by Tom Goodman Hill, Messalina by Jessica Raine, and Narcissus by Robin Soanes. Calpurnia was Sally Orrock, Burrus Jude Aquidike, and Britannicus Ryan Watson. Other parts were played by Adil Akhtar, Sean Baker, Ian Batchelor, Tony Bell, Henry DeVass, and Claire Harry. The music was by David Pickvance. The director was Jonquil Panting.